Welcome back to the Doghouse with Brode.
And Alex.
And we have a new icon thanks to artist Yuma, my daughter. It's very cool. She has her own Twitter account. You should check her out if you like her stuff. She's getting really good. She is actually really good.
Well, she spends hours on that stuff. I mean, hours. She's dedicated.
Yes, she is. So, anyway, let's get on to the action here. There's not a camera today because it's just too hot. Screw that. We're not worried about it. So, what's up on the screen is not the first thing we're doing. Let me get it switched over. No, get away from me. Okay, so there was an incident a couple days ago, and it was all over Twitter, and it's this really huge deal right now, right? I don't know if you're familiar with the Antifa Protestors, the Antifa group.
Little bit.
They're essentially, the way I've understood it is they're a counter protest group. They are left wing, anti-fascist is what it's short for, and I'm pretty sure they came into existence right around the time that Donald Trump ascended to power, because that's really when it really started to take off. And I honestly haven't really paid that close of attention to it, because what little I've seen doesn't seem to indicate that they're really all that violent. But then there have been a couple of incidents where there was supposedly some violence, or they spat on people or stuff like that, you know. That is, I don't promote that. I'm not cool with that, which is why I don't really pay close attention to Antifa. I'm not big on, you know, throwing shit at people and beating them up just because they piss you off.
No,
I mean, that's not going to change anyone's opinions about things.
No.
Doing it that way. But I also don't believe it's the entire group. I think it is isolated incidents that occur because of agitation. I think there are some people that are provocateurs that go with the hopes that they will get their asses kicked. Because when that happens, especially by Antifa, then everyone goes crazy and they post stuff about it, and they create basically funding drives for these victims.
All right.
Now, again, I know that what I'm about to say has been taken very hasn't been taken very kindly on Twitter.
Right.
But so I just want to state real quick in a little clip I can make for Twitter to add on to this conversation that I've been in, because they really are, a lot of them are just angry people that honestly I don't have a problem with their anger, because they're anger that someone got hurt, but they're conflating what a few people, because I've never really seen evidence that they've been bad people for the most part. It's just been a few bad actors. And I know how that shit circulates when a few bad things happen in a normally good group.
Right.
It gets demonized, and they do their best to attach it to the whole group. But anyway, they want to label Antifa. The other day, when this guy got attacked, they want to label Antifa as a terrorist group, which I have yet to see them kill anyone. I've yet to see any proof that they've actually done any long-standing harm to anyone. Yeah, there was a few skirmishes, but terrorist group? I mean, these are the same people that want to make the Southern Poverty Law Center a terrorist group, or want to get them declared a hate group or whatever it was they were trying to do. And the reason they say that is because Southern Poverty Law Center is about helping poor people, and mostly, in particular, poor people of color. Which I don't take issue with that, because I think people need whatever help they can get.
Yeah.
So they try to protect against. Now they do this the stuff about the hate speech. I don't know how I feel about hate speech, because we need all speech to be. We shouldn't be banning words. We shouldn't be banning thoughts. That's a bad idea. That's a bad idea.
No, you're talking about
for
the
a million
First
reasons.
Amendment.
What's that?
You're talking about the First Amendment, the freedom of speech. You know, you start taking speech away, a lot of comedy is going to go right out the door too.
But then once you start taking rights away from certain words and certain groups of people and
They're
certain
just going
ideas,
to come up with other words.
well, not only that, but who's the arbiter of who's right? Who's the arbiter of what is? Because if we start banning this, then we can start escalating to ban whatever, and that is the beginning of fascism.
But then it also makes it harder when someone tries to speak out against someone that's doing wrong, and certain freedoms of speech are taken. Well, that person's automatically a liar because they don't have the rights of being able to truly protect themselves lawfully.
Yeah, we need to be able to. We're all adults. We need to be able to decide for ourselves, using critical thought, what the right ideas are. We let them say the bad ideas, because what happens then when you start doing things like they wanted to ban Nazi paraphernalia, or there was something to do with banning Nazi, like a show or something that was talking about Nazism. Mm-hmm. They were banning a show based on that.
Okay.
Or they were banning documentaries, or YouTube. I think it was YouTube had canceled something or whatever because of it. And it's like, wow, that's just too far, man. All they're doing is talking about it in a historical sense.
Yeah, I mean, see, that's where a line has to be drawn when it comes to freedom of speech, because you start taking away the First Amendment, and all the truth of history and stuff is ultimately going out the window as well. Because then no one's really going to know what happened in the Holocaust. No one's really going to know what happened unless you're one of, the rich people that are able to get your child into these awesome universities by bribing them. And then they can find, all the knowledge they want to know there. But then that's taking and making it to where you got to pay for knowledge, and then you can't speak out about it once you have the knowledge.
Yeah, exactly. See, that's why we don't need to let people decide what is okay to say and what's not okay to say.
I don't believe in verbal threats and shit like that, but I mean, there is a way to address that lawfully today. So, I mean, there's
laws on assault.
Yes, including, verbal. I mean, all of that is under assault, and you can, go to the police station and be like, look, this person is assaulted me and said blah blah blah, and then that person will have to be held accountable.
So yeah, and that's the thing, right? Get the people that did it, arrest them, but how do you tie these? Because there were 6 people involved. It was an unfair match, that's for damn sure. And which is why I said I don't condone the action at all that they attacked him whatsoever. But here's the problem. They're trying to make it sound a whole lot worse than it actually is. Because let's see, I don't know what happened to that link there. That looks funny. See, it wasn't just that he was beat up, because he was hit a few times, and he's got abrasions on his face.
He's got the marks to prove that he was assaulted.
Yeah. And no one is, as far as I can tell, no one's actually denying that he was assaulted, physically assaulted, thrown to the ground, because he had marks on his neck that were consistent with abrasions from being punched, because he had a black eye, and he had a mark under his black eye. My wife said something about when she saw it, it looked like maybe they had a ring, which is fucked up. Don't get me wrong. That's fucked up. And the whole thing's fucked up.
Well, they need to go to jail and be...
They do. They do. Now, here is the thing about it. They also threw milkshakes at him, which is the thing is, that's a universal thing going on right now throughout the world. There are people in protest because, protesters throw all kinds of things. And one of them is that they're throwing milkshakes. Okay. I think that started in Britain. I might be wrong, but I know it's happened there before. There was this one kid that was like considered a hero because he dumped a milkshake on some politician.
Yes.
Do you remember that?
Yes.
Well, that's been carried on, and Antifa did that this weekend, or I think it was Friday now. No, it was this weekend. I'm sorry. It was only a couple days ago. So, they threw milkshakes at him, but they're claiming, now here is the thing, they are claiming that the milkshakes had quick dry cement.
What the fuck?
Cement milkshake. So, were that true? Were that true? That'd be horrific, right? That'd be fucking awful.
Yeah.
But people have talked about it online and have shown pictures. I think I could just get those directly on my Twitter account. But these pictures show Andy. Oh, his name is Andy Ngo. So he was assaulted by Antifa, and there's a picture that's now up on the screen showing his marks on his face where he was hit in the eyes, and it looks like they gave him a pretty significant beatdown, but it don't look like they maybe hit more than once a piece. Average, maybe twice the most. And there's also a cut where his ear is cut, but they're claiming that it's quick dry cement. But first of all, that was debunked on Twitter because of something to do with the sugar in the quick dry cement or in the milkshake, because it was a mix. It wasn't just cement. They tried posting pictures of them making it with materials that you would use. I mean, they were just like pictures. They were mixing them in pitchers, and they were trying to say that there were bags of quick dry cement around the ground. The pictures obviously show that that was not the case. And on top of that, there has been no evidence put forward by anyone that it's happened in the last 2 days. Now, I was calling that out on Twitter at the time, right?
Right.
And they were the people that understood what was going on, that it was a lie, because it was being circulated by top Twitter assholes like Charlie Kirk. I don't know if you know who that is, but he's one of those right-wing pundits on Twitter that likes to run his mouth. He's a big Trump supporter.
I probably don't have him.
Huge Christian.
I may not have him on my Twitter as far as following. It doesn't mean that I haven't seen something from him here and there, because I have like Trump, Warren, Tulsi. I have a lot of them that I follow, because I believe that you need to do your homework, and that means hearing it from every mouth and not just, through one source. But I try not to get too much into the followers of these politicians, because I found that even in Bernie Sanders' followers, that there's a lot of heated people. And I'm not saying that we don't have a reason to be upset. We absolutely do. But we need to go about it lawfully, and we don't need to be criticizing, other people. We need to be informative. We need to be friendly and supportive.
Yeah, now see, that's where we agree also, because there's something to be outraged about. There's a whole lot to be outraged about, but attacking people personally and directly.
Yes.
I don't mind criticism. I don't even mind harsh criticism personally.
Right.
You cuss all you want. I don't really care. People get upset. People get, riled up. It happens.
Yes.
And I don't take that shit personally. But there was this guy on Twitter that started attacking me over my weight and just kept telling me I've never done anything in my life. And it's like, that's just toxic, man. I don't want to address that. I'm not going to say who it is. I don't see any reason to. I'm not mad about it. It's just I muted him because it's like I don't like blocking people, because if you ever wanted to get back and if you ever had anything else you wanted to say to me and he didn't give me attitude, I wanted to give him a chance to be able to talk. I like giving everyone a chance to talk as long as they're not assholes.
Yeah.
And I believe that people can reform, etc. So I try not to be the type to block people. But I did have to mute him because he was just being a dick to me personally, not about what I have to think or say, but just me personally on a personal level. It's like, as far as I know, I don't do that. Now, if I'm wrong, if I've ever attacked anybody, I'd want to be corrected, and I would try to make up for it. But
yeah, I'm the same way. I'm not gonna pretend to know everything. I've come in contact with someone where I was wrong, but they were still being hateful and mean. You can't learn from someone like that. So I did block him. I'm all for learning from other people. I'm not gonna, sit there and be like, I know everything, because I don't. All right, but there's got to be a way that you can go to people when you have information, and by verbally attacking or belittling the person and making them feel lesser than you is not how you go about teaching someone. We are not children.
Yeah. Yeah, we need to try to bring ourselves to a better standard.
Absolutely.
But not to the point where we got to control each other's language.
Right.
Because that doesn't change. That doesn't help anything. That doesn't change anything.
No.
And people being scared of a couple of dirty words, that's ridiculous. But directing them at someone. So anyway.
Yeah.
Back to the story. So this isn't all of it, of course, because the Portland police, and I'm wanting to bring up my my tweets here because I did link some images for us to see. Let's see. Some funny ones, but I'm actually looking for the stuff about him. Here we go. This is one thing. There was a... so here's the video, right?
Oh, fuck! No!
Sorry, different story. Don't know any context. I can't do anything yet. Okay, here's Charlie Kirk's... he linked the video. Here's Andy Ngo. He starts getting hit with milkshakes. That's fucked up. The string won't bother me. Milkshakes don't bother me. If I got hit with a milkshake, it would annoy me. But
Fucking own, bitch!
as long as it's not toxic or trying to burn me.
Yeah, I'd probably cuss at the motherfucker if he threw a milkshake at me, but I'm not going to physically try to harm, someone over said thing.
No, you will defend yourself.
Absolutely.
If necessary.
Oh, yes. I am indeed mixed martial arts all the way. I loved a good sparring session, and I know how to use it if I have to.
But this guy, however, of course, I'm not saying that he should have defended himself because he was, being encountered by a lot of people at once, and he actually got hit by, it looks like, 2 or 3 of them.
Yeah, see, that's
But this doesn't show where he was punched.
Right. That's when I'd start using their momentum into the other guys to make it a little bit more fair.
Now, see, the failure here is not Antifa. The failure here is the Portland police. Because where the hell were the police? They didn't do anything. Why the fuck didn't they do anything?
Because when they do something, they feel like they're going to get a backlash from it. And in a sense, I can understand where there's fear there, but we can use things other than tear gas and pepper spray to deal with these. I mean, they were all trained in defense to be able to hold someone if need be. These guys obviously would have had to move, a few feet to actually get to the situation, and they'd be able to put them all down. And when you have to use force to detain someone, that's okay. I'm not going to sit there and be mad at a police officer for protecting someone, because that's what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, exactly. If they had cut in on this, I think middle America and everyone with half a brain would have looked at that and said that was acceptable police force.
Right.
If they had jumped in, stopped, because there were no guns drawn by anyone.
Right.
They didn't need to have a big military caravan there to protect anybody.
Or a nightstick, or, you know.
They could have had some. Well, even a nightstick wouldn't have bothered me too much.
Well, if there's no weapons, I don't feel like a police officer should use a weapon. That's just me personally. Mm-hmm. They have more. Yeah. They should have more hand-to-hand combat training than your average civilian. And if I can take down a police officer, then that tells me that they're not getting the training. And then maybe they need to start focusing on better trainers. And honestly, I think every police force should be held accountable to properly make sure that each of their officers are trained accordingly. And that also means making sure that their fat asses are going in the gym 2 or 3 times a fucking week, and also getting a sparring session in, because they have to be fit to be able to do their job.
Yeah.
And that's more, they have to be able to run long distances without stopping. They have to be a physical machine, in a sense, that they should be. My personal opinion, I know it doesn't matter for much, but I want to feel protected by my police officers. I don't want to feel threatened by them, or I don't want to feel like they're flaunting around their badges. I want them to just seriously do their job and do what's right. And
serve and protect, right?
Right. And if there is any illegal protesting going on, then they have every right to detain the people that are doing the illegal protests. But that does not mean I believe that they should be using any sort of physical harm if physical harm is not being dished out. And then, if it's a large group of people, then yes, make sure you have the officers available to be able to detain that situation. All right? Most of these people are scared, and they don't feel like they're being heard. And because of that, they're going to get in large groups to be able to unify their voice. And that should be an absolute yes. They should be allowed to do that. But they shouldn't be able to do it in the streets. They shouldn't be able to do anything that can, physically stop, people going from one place to another. Honestly, I understand the flinging of milkshakes and shit like that, like what you were saying. Yeah, there's really not a lot of harm, but there is also pollution being, placed upon the ground too, especially if, no one's going to be picking that up anytime soon, probably going down into our sewage and, et cetera, so on and so forth. I'm going to see it as an environmentalist should.
Well, it could cause property damage, because it could stain some clothing if they throw anything too toxic.
Right.
And I don't think that they should. I don't think that they should be harmed. And the thing is, though, is the argument was they mixed in dry cement, right?
Right.
And like I said, up to this point, I have seen no evidence, which I have Googled actively for, to try to find evidence that there actually was quick dry cement in it. And I even looked a couple of hours ago, so I still, at the point of recording this, have not seen any. And I encourage people that have some, that there was quick dry cement in there, please send me, because there were people that were seen drinking it. There were people that, there were multiple people that were hit by them. So someone else should have gone to the ER at this point.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen anything. Now, that doesn't mean it hasn't happened.
Yes.
So I'm asking people to engage.
Yes, absolutely. That's the whole point of this podcast, is to inform. We need the information. And like he said, if you have it, talk to us. We are open-minded. We're going to consider the facts. But that's what we need. We need facts. We can't go by people's opinions or no matter how much footage. Like, if you were there, hit us up. Let us know from your standpoint of what you've seen. But again, we're going to go by the facts. If you weren't in participation with that mixture, if you didn't drink of it, or et cetera, so on and so forth, then, that's not a fact that we can use. And until then, we have to put that part of the story on hold until more evidence has been properly placed and put forward.
So here is what the alleged evidence, however, is. And this is what really got me into the fracas online. So there were images that were posted that showed they were claiming that he had chemical burns. But the images that you see only have little... I've shown it to a few people. Did I show it to you?
I don't think I've seen it. Okay,
I will try to look for it, but they don't, and the opinions of everyone I showed it to are that they are not chemical burns, because a number of us have seen chemical burns, and I even
I've
Googled...
seen chemical burns.
Yeah, you have too, and I'm pretty confident that you would agree, because at least, your lady, my lady, a couple of the children even looked at it and said, no, that's...
Yeah.
Okay, so here's an image for the screen. Someone saying, literally in the message, come real quick and see this. Someone says, "This look like milkshake to you?" And I want to tell you what you think, just looking at it.
Well, I mean, yeah. yeah, that looks like milkshake to me. That looks like milkshake poured out of a pitcher. I'd be drinking that shit. It's hot.
Yeah, exactly. It was really hot out there at the protest, and they were passing, and I even linked to a Reddit thread that was talking about it, which they were debunking it also, because they were saying, guys, it was hot out there. They were making they were making vegan milkshakes in bulk.
Yeah.
And there were no quick dry cement bags or whatever. It was just the tubs for like what they look like the mixtures of a vegan milkshake would be.
I love you, but give me the real milkshake. I like milk. Love. Well, okay, probably wouldn't be good in that kind of heat though. Never mind, scratch that. I'll take the vegan milkshake.
Here's this one too now. This is an image of where they were mixing it. Oh, yeah, better look. There you go.
Oh yeah, very suspicious. So suspicious.
I think there's one more further down.
Somebody pour that shake on me. It's fucking hot, you see.
Just a bunch of idiots posting memes. Because I got into a heated debate about God too at one point. So, come on, load. So the point is, though, is that they clearly were not cement milkshakes, but it was getting circulated everywhere to the point that even the Portland police, who, mind you, dropped the ball on the incident itself, made a tweet saying, "We received information that there was quick dry cement in the milkshakes thrown at people today. Please let the Portland police know if anyone was hit by such a projectile." So,
and no one stepped forward.
No one has stepped forward up to this point. I have not seen any.
It does not take a rocket scientist to know that some people like to talk out of their ass and make a big mountain out of a molehill.
Which, I mean, it's bad enough. They didn't need to do anything else.
Right.
I mean, if they wanted to, if they wanted to help him get some kind of recompense for what actually happened, as in getting them arrested.
Right.
Suing
Absolutely.
the police, I actually have no problem if he wanted to sue the police, to be honest with you.
Well,
because all these fucking police departments that are corrupt, they just need to get their asses kicked once in a while. It's not even the cops themselves on this.
No.
Though
it's
obviously
the people that are working it upstairs, and see that's where it all needs to be started. It needs to all be redone, and it needs to start at the top. Start getting the right people in at the top, and they will ensure that the right people get placed towards the bottom people. Come on. We need good people, not corrupt people. We're done with the corruption.
Yeah, I think everybody's pretty done with the corruption.
I mean, that's just as corrupt as the police officer that came over to our house and physically touched the damn evidence with his bare hands.
Now, this is... Take a look at these pictures. These two I posted that compared what he had endured on his neck.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so I'm not saying that he did not get beat up. He obviously did.
Yeah, looks like he got scratched.
Yeah, it looks like because he was on the ground.
Yeah,
he got thrown to the ground.
Yeah, and he got scratched up by the concrete. You can tell because
and even his ear there.
Yep.
But here is a picture of an actual chemical burn.
Well, yeah, there you go. That's a good look at it.
It's a pretty standard burn. It's not severe, not one of the severe ones where it was the whole body. This is a pretty small one compared to the other ones I saw.
I was about to say, yeah, because I've seen other ones that look just slightly different.
So it doesn't, to me, or anyone I've talked to, look like a chemical burn.
No, and
now, I may not be an expert.
He'd be bubbled up at first, too.
Because he's in the hospital room, so this is not immediately after it.
Well, then the
chemical burn should have had time.
If he's in the hospital for it, then the doctors and nurses would be able to claim right then and there, yeah, that's a chemical burn. Have we had anyone step out and say that?
To my knowledge, no. And in fact, I linked a piece of an article that was linked by one of these people. And it said, as of Monday morning, there was no physical evidence or additional reports of the use of the so-called concrete milkshakes. A request for comment sent to the Portland Police Department was not immediately returned. So the police department, obviously, it looks to me, anyway, like the police department, once they knew they dropped the ball, once they got wind that people were talking about these cement milkshakes, they sent it out. I mean, it's equal to them getting an anonymous tip, really, right?
Right.
But they posted it on their Twitter, asked for people to come forward, and it seems like a distraction. It seems like they're trying to distract from the fact that they dropped the ball in the first place. Mm-hmm. So what's your take on that?
My take goes back to what I said earlier. We need people that are efficiently trained to the T. Years and years of training, and then training again and throughout their life, just like a doctor has to constantly keep going back to school when new stuff happens so that they are informed. It shouldn't be any different than law enforcement. Our military, they're constantly training, they're keeping themselves up to par, or should be, especially in my opinion. That's, tax money. I hope that our soldiers are getting the very best. That's what they deserve. Sorry, rant. Anyway, yeah, they need to be trained. Mm-hmm. That's my thought on it all, is it needs to go to proper training. Start at the top, and then let it work itself down the right way.
I hear you. It needs to be... it needs to be looked at, because there's a tweet right here that's really interesting. I think sums this up really greatly. Right? It says, you need to be sued. This is directly to the Portland police. You need to be sued. You saw this happening and did nothing. Mr. Andy Ngo should sue you and the mayor for everything y'all have. The FBI and DOJ should investigate you and your mayor.
I think
do you agree with that?
I do agree with that. Absolutely. And why stop there? I mean, we got corruption all across the board in every fucking state. Let's start ripping it from the roots, and then scare the other ones into submission before we get to them. Maybe they'll straighten their asses up too.
Hell yeah. Kind of like these companies that Bernie's going after, saying $15 an hour, motherfucker, we're coming for you.
Yeah, come on, Dollar General.
Come on, Walgreens.
Let's do this.
Come on, Kroger.
It's time to make that change. Do good for your people. We bust our ass for you. You should definitely show us the same kindness.
Yeah, and there have actually been people talking about that it would it would now be like $30 an hour if it kept up with production.
Well, I actually did the math and came up to 22, but I'm not the greatest at math, so I'm gonna say that I could agree with the $30 because that's at least close to what I got out of it.
Well, I don't imagine anyone's going to get a $30 an hour thing fast, and I'm not even suggesting it myself.
I'm not even hopeful for that. I just want to be able to take care of my family that I love. All right. It seems like my grandma, when she was young, she was able to take care of her family, with her husband, and they were financially stable. And that was, I think, just the two incomes. The way I see it, we got what? 3 different incomes? 3 different incomes coming in, and we're having the hardest time.
Yes, we are.
And we shouldn't be struggling like this, but when you work for places like Dollar General, and it's not always guaranteed. Like as part-time, I'm sure that the greater company sees it as, well, they're part-time employees, they're not even full-time, it doesn't matter or shouldn't matter. I have to say that's bullshit, because those of us that are part-time usually have more than one job so that they can manage. I'm actually looking at getting a second job after the 19th of this month so that I can try and catch up, because I'm in the hole. My credit is flatline. It looks horrible.
Yeah.
And I can hardly keep up. I'm barely above water as far as being able to breathe. And I know I'm not the only one. And I know that there are cases that are far worse than mine because they don't have at least the 2 other incomes. They just have themselves. And food stamps only help so much. They're being cut all the fucking time. They are doing what they can, but it's not enough. And they know it's not enough. But what can we do until we get the change that we need to have? And that means getting Bernie Sanders in there. And I'm going to say it right off the bat. Most of the other politicians, it's awesome that they're using, some of his ideas and then collaborating their own ideas to, make their own standpoint. And that's great, because at least we have people that understand that the uprising that happened when Bernie came out for the 2016, that shit was real. There's no way that anyone can hush that shit. That shit's real. Mm-hmm. But I want the real deal. I want, the way I see it, if Einstein was alive today and was running for president, and he was still of sound mind, I'd fucking vote for his ass. Because it doesn't matter what the age is. Too many people are focused on, he's such and such age. Man, there are people that live to be 109 before they actually get wheelchair bound to the point where, they're, about to pass on. Mm-hmm. And some even longer than that. All right? I'm not caring about his age. I'm caring about his mind and where he's coming from and how he's going to do what he wants to do. And I am okay paying more taxes out if that means, Medicare for all. That means that me and my kids can go and get seen, because I'm always putting myself on the back burner. So's my old lady. You put your ass on the back burner too. A lot of us do it because we're afraid of those bills. We can't hardly do living paycheck to paycheck. What can you do? All right, it doesn't matter. I've talked to managers of some of these stores, not just, seeing it from my own boss, but they're not treated wage fairly either. And they have so much more on their plate, so much more that they're forced to have to deal with, or they lose their job. When people think salary, until you've actually made a salary wage, you have no idea what that boss is going through financially. And sometimes that struggle is so real that they end up not only able to do their job, they get sent into a ferocious depression. They end up giving up because they feel helpless. All right? And these are people that are good bosses that are being torn by their corrupt people above them expecting all of this shit and then expecting them to be okay with that little salary because it's called salary. It must be great, right? It's not. It's unfair. If we as workers expect to make more, we also need to think about the bosses that are treating us good.
Yeah. Bingo.
Because they deserve it too.
Yeah, we both have family that, like one of our sisters, and I have a half sister that has 3 kids, and she's a boss, and she's struggling and stuff, and it all sucks to have to like work, because we know someone that works 2 jobs. Is it 3 now?
3, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So, and she's trying to make a better life for her and her kids, and she's a single mom. And my sister is married, so she at least has
that other income.
Yeah.
But not everyone does. And even if you don't have a family and you're living on your own, a lot of the people that I know, unless they have an extra income coming from somewhere, we're going to our parents' house. We're going to family's house to, live because we can't afford it otherwise. I mean, the prices of housing, even in this area, has gone up. I mean, it's who has the ability to give a loan for over $100,000 without wanting an arm and a leg? Let me know. And that's a small home. All right, that's a small home here in Kentucky. And we're also talking, less than a half an acre of land, and lucky if the basement looks, like it doesn't have a leak or some cracks in it. That's being in Elizabethtown. That's not talking about the actual nice places, for a family of our size. Oh my goodness, $200,000, $300,000, $550,000, for something comfortable. Because we ain't looking for anything elaborate. We just want comfortable, right, man?
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, we're not freaking greedy. We don't need these mansions like Rush Limbaugh has, and I saw a thing yesterday about people in their fucking ridiculous mansions, and saw Halle Berry's and Rush Limbaugh's, and
I quit watching Cribs and shit like that when I was younger because it was disheartening for someone like me, knowing that I'd never make it like that, because I knew I wouldn't. And it was another thing that was disheartening. My mom, she worked as an insulator for years, and because of babysitting problems and such, I would go to work with my mom. So I learned the trade of insulating very young, and it's disheartening when you're going and you're doing up this house for a brain surgeon, and I'm sitting here and we're insulating his theater room. It's fucking massive. And it was going to be beautiful by the time it was done. He had, what looked like it was going to be a bowling alley. We're talking, 15 plus rooms just for themselves. That's not talking about the side wing for their family when they came over to stay. I mean, it was 2 fucking basements down too. I mean, we're talking, this guy had money, and it made me sick insulating that home, knowing that I never reached that potential because I was not given the fair chance or the equal opportunity like so many people says is out there, because it's not true.
Yeah, no joke. Well, I know for a fact that you have to put up with some bullshit because of, being trans.
Yeah.
And people don't think that that's a thing anymore, but they're wrong. Because there are still places that treat people like crap.
Yeah.
And there's no good reason for it.
Well, let's be honest too. More people know about my trans life in Elizabethtown than where we're living at here in Hodgenville. I'm called ma'am all the time. I don't say anything about it. I just let it happen. I'm not in a place where I can just make that kind of change, and I'm not going to expect it out of people, because ultimately they're still good people. They don't understand what trans is, and I can't hold that against them for not knowing that. Not everyone surfs the internet like we do. Not everyone has a phone in their hand 24/7 like a lot of other people
especially
do.
the older folks, right?
Right, exactly.
Who aren't necessarily bad people, because we know some of the churchgoers here.
Yeah, and they're beautiful people.
Wow, we don't agree at all with their ideas about
Religion,
the world and
yes.
shit, but they are good people. They
Yes,
help
they
people
are.
out when they need it. My grandparents did get help in their later years by the locals.
Yes.
And
Yes.
and it's, they're good. I think they're pretty good people for the most part.
And I'll be honest
So-
with you, Hodgenville has felt more like home to me as far as the community than a lot of the other places that I've lived in. But I'm also no longer seeking out churches to see the inner outers of that either. I gave up on that, and my kids can do whatever they want if they're interested. There's some of them that do go to church, some that go on and off, a couple of them and that's okay. I don't dog them for that, and they don't, it's not like they come home and start preaching God, you know what I'm saying? It's a respect thing, and I think it should be a respect not just inside of the home, but outside, because it's absolutely okay to have a religion and believe the way you want. Unless you're hurting someone because of your religion, I see religion as harmless, and everyone has the right to believe what they want. I just don't want to be affected by it, and I don't want my kids to go to school being affected by it, and I'm tired of a lot of the bigotry that is happening in our United States, where we were supposed to have separation of state and religion. And that should also mean, as a federal, as a school building, the same rules should apply.
Yeah.
Any type of building that is supposed to be, representing all diversity and is supposed to be encouraging education, they need to be the same as separation of religion and state needs to be separation of religion and school. And if you want your kids to go to a religious school, then they have Catholic schools and Christian schools scattered about this place. And I can point out 5 or 6, 7 of them actually right now, and 5 of them are based in Louisville. I mean, if you want it that much, they have dorms even. But in a public school, nah, man. I think the history needs to be taught. I think an understanding. If you want to touch religion, the only way that I'd be comfortable with my kids sitting in that class is if you were only discussing the religion of it. And if you're going to discuss one group, you need to discuss them all. Because I'm not going to have my kids coming home, especially my youngest, saying, well, Mom, did you know that Jesus was all powerful and knowing? No, I did not. Did you learn about Allah? Did you learn about the walk of Buddhists? Did you learn about the Trail of Tears? Did you learn about, the 2 spirits that form in one body instead of just one, like the Native Americans believe? Because if you're not going to sit there and teach all of that, I will be damned if you sit there and throw one religion down my child's throat.
Yeah, exactly. Well, so here is I guess, the moment we've been waiting for. The moment I've been kind of building this up to.
Oh, let's do it!
Because there is speaking of the people that were circulating these rumors about cement milkshakes, were also spreading a rumor that he had some kind of damage done to his brain in the attack. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but so far, I've seen no evidence, much like I've seen no evidence for the cement milkshakes. So, to me, it sounds like they're perpetuating a big old lie.
Yeah, and then it makes their situation that actually happened kind of make everyone else not feel for them anymore. It's like, oh, you got your ass beat, and then you find out everything else on top of it as far as the lies that this person has tried to spread, and then it's like, well, you kind of deserve to get your ass beat then.
It goes deeper.
Oh.
Because one of those people perpetuating the lies, her name is Michelle Malkin.
Okay.
And she is a right-wing pundit, so she is one of those people circulating all the all the bullshit about Antifa. Just like Charlie Kirk and Ben Shapiro and Steven Crowder's probably jumped on top of this at some point by now. I don't know yet. But Michelle Malkin started a GoFundMe campaign for Andy Ngo, citing emergency services, with the goal of reaching $50,000. Now bear in mind, this has been about 2 days at this point. Out of the $50,000 that they intended to raise, in a 2-day period, what do you think they managed to raise? I dare you to fathom a guess.
I'm going to say there's a lot of uninformed people or non-informed people that are half-ass following this story. So I'm going to say he probably made over half. Like, he probably doubled it.
Probably doubled it?
Yeah, they probably doubled it.
Well, buckle in, because I'm about to pull it up again, and we're going to see what the current... Oops, I've got that up, but I need to refresh it, because that was a couple hours ago when I pulled it up. So let's see what the current, which is going to show up to them first. Okay, so it's only gone up a couple grand in the last couple hours.
You gotta be fucking...
Because it dropped off very dramatically after the first 24 hours.
Right.
But currently, as it stands, he has $169,961. Oh, it's a palindrome. Look at that. It was forward and backward. It's the same number.
Oh my god.
He's going to get $200,000 for being a professional. He's going to get $200,000 for being a professional victim. And I say $200,000 because I predict it will probably at least crest over the 200 grand mark before the end of the week. Because I'm sure as it trickles out,
that gets taken out and stuff like that by the end of all of it, that's probably what he's going to get.
Well, I don't know how much they take out, but according to Michelle Malkin, every dollar is going to go to Andy Ngo. And she's talking in here about how he's beaten and robbed. Oh shit, robbed. Wait a minute.
Where in the thing that you read mentioned him being robbed?
I've never seen anything about it until I read her GoFundMe.
So maybe she's adding some falsehood to it?
She's adding a dose of her own to it, it looks like.
Which is going to make more people feel sorry for this asshole. And oh my goodness. You know what I could do with half of that money? I could get Lisa's debt out of the way from college. She could actually finish school since she was denied. Mm-hmm. You know, even if it meant she no longer wanted to do it anymore, at least she'd have that degree finished like she deserved to have. You know.
I hear you.
We'd be able to get a laptop so that I can do this podcast properly. Let's see here. And then actually have a down payment on a home, and once I get my second job, I'd be able to afford the monthly payments. And I mean, my disability's already pretty much shit anyway, so I mean, even if they took it from me, it's not like I was making a whole hell of a lot. I'd get a third job if I had to.
Wow. Well, I mean, this guy, if he plays his cards right, I mean, he could have himself a really popular show or something. Whoa. Sorry about that delay. Here we go. Transitioning back. Boy, am I glad I didn't turn on the freaking camera. So many freaking flies. Damn heat. Okay, so we kind of paused there on the Andy Ngo thing. So, yeah, essentially this guy So my summary, I guess, is that what happened to him is wrong. Yes, he likely incited it because the videos only begun mysteriously after the incident began, before he would have done anything. I am not accusing him of that, however, because it's entirely possible he did not aggravate.
I wonder what caused the conflict to begin with. Like, I wonder what really started it. Like, did he instigate it, you know?
Yeah, and I'm curious too, because this is making it look like he is a fraud here.
Yes. I've actually started to question everything that, about the story as far as coming from his mouth.
And the only reason, the only reason I'm interested is because he's making so much money here. And I'm curious if Michelle Malkin will fucking screw over the people somehow. And could you imagine her funneling that to Donald Trump or some shit?
Oh my goodness.
It's like she eventually, like, I could see her taking advantage of him in the long run on this. But then again, I'm a dungeon master. I have that kind of imagination. So
absolutely.
It could just be me letting my imagination go crazy. And I will confess to that. So I
love your brain.
I don't know if she's like that. I don't know if he's like that. I don't want to make the conjecture too hard because I'm not really serious. I don't think that that's what I'm hoping that's not what he's doing, because it does not look like he's the one perpetuating the lies, because it looks like everyone else is doing it. The only problem is he's staying silent, as far as I know, because I haven't seen his Twitter feed. I don't know if he's spoken up and said anything yet or not. I know he addressed some comments, but the scope of this was just to address the GoFundMe false, the false premises behind the GoFundMe. And now he's going to get a whole bunch of money. And it's like, this just does not look right. Everything about this is bullshit. Mm-hmm. From the cops not doing what they were supposed to do, from the Antifa members that attacked him in the first place, from him basically potentially cashing out on this. Or it might be Michelle Malkin. Time will tell. So, and the fact that, here's the fact of it. The people that I was engaging with on Twitter, they were the ones that say when they donate, because they'll say, oh, I donated because he got hit with cement milkshakes. And it's like, but that didn't happen. It's just milkshakes. And fine, if you want to donate them, fine, whatever. But where does that compassion come when it comes to the rest of the poor people? Why is it that usually the people that are donating to Michelle Malkin's GoFundMe for him, her followers and people that disagree, and think Antifa is some huge terrorist group, and it's just the train of thought behind these people is that these are the same people that vote for people who keep the status quo for the poor. They don't want you to get Medicare for all. They want you to be self-made, and there's a whole bunch of losers, and you should take advantage of them. Capitalism. It's like, what the fuck, man? Where's the concern for everyone else? Because people go through shit all the time. Like I said, you being discriminated against essentially at work. Where's the justice for that?
Well, see, I guess that's where, like, I did feel like I was treated that way when I worked at Kroger. I kind of felt weird at Valvoline, but I don't feel like I was being done wrong or anything as far as because I was trans. I think it was just because, that guy that I worked with had a massive temper, and I just can't work with people like that. I just can't.
Yeah.
But at work, I have not said, hey, so-and-so, I'm trans and not actually a lesbian. So I prefer to be, called he or him. I feel very awkward at that approach. You know what I'm saying? Especially when, I guess it's my personal life. The people that need to know who I am know. And I am not. Now, when I go to have my sex change, then, yeah, that's going to be a completely different story, you know what I mean? Because then it's like, okay, look, I have a penis. You know, it dingles behind, between my legs. It's there now. Hopefully my voice will be a lot deeper by then. Facial hair and shit.
Well, you know something? There is a Discord that I recently joined that I could send you a link to, and they have a lot of people on there that are trans, and because it's an LGBTQA network, basically.
Right.
And more people with that are, it's not just for trans people, but there are a lot of trans people there.
Okay.
And if you wanted to like have discussions with them, because there are a number of people that talk about trans issues and the drug and taking the hormones and the various stages
Oh, so
and
it's
steps.
informative.
Yes.
Oh, well,
people
then, yeah.
are trying to exchange information and help each other through tough times. And so I kind of want to show for that Discord. It's LGBTQA plus Nest.
Oh.
So if anyone is gay or trans, bi, gender fluid or non-binary, or it's they try to keep it a safe place where people aren't toxic.
Right.
And so if you guys wanted to join something like that, there is also a section, which is why I guess I was looking for in the first place. There was a poly section, and but I actually am thinking about joining the trans femme conversation.
Right.
And seeing what they, because they said you could do that, you could take the role, even if you're not, and just if you wanted to listen and you wanted to hear what they go through. And some people have said once you go trans femme on there, you don't go back.
That's beautiful.
So, anyway, yeah, just a quick shill for that. And I don't really have anything else to say about the GoFundMe, but I wanted to look into one more thing about Andy Ngo before we wrap that up and move on. And let me take a look at what time we have here. So, yeah, oh shit. This will be the last thing then, apparently.
I'm okay with it.
So it's all
Well, because
almost
once
got an
you
hour.
take the break out of it, it should go even.
Well, it's over an hour already, and
Right.
there was like a 10-15 minute break, so.
Gotcha. Well, let's do that.
So, I want to look real quick at Andy Ngo and his Twitter feed, because it was involved in something, Democratic strategist calls Antifa attack. Oh, wow, this is new. Democratic strategist calls Antifa attack on Andy Ngo alleged ... because Jussie Smollett.
What?
So now they're calling this whole thing a hoax.
Wow.
What? Okay, so Andrew Yang says, I hope Mr. Andy Ngo is okay. Journalists should be safe to report on a protest without being targeted. I think that was a pretty good thing to say. That's honest. And he's not attacking Antifa directly. He's just, he's just renouncing what they did. So, but there was something he was supposedly involved in that had nothing to do with the attack.
I'm packing for you.
Thank you, I appreciate that. So, God damn it. Where is it? I have to come off of, let's see. Andy, no, LGBT. There was something involving the LGBT. So.
We'll just fast forward.
Oh, I remember now why. Holy shit, this is because Andy Ngo is gay.
Wait, what?
Andy, that was something I completely forgot about. Because I was focused on the logistics of it and the non-identity politics stuff. He's gay. So now it looks like he's calling out LGBT groups. It says, the headline from townhall.com is, Andy Ngo on LGBT organizations' silence over Antifa assault. I'm not the right type of victim. And he's got right in quotes as a direct
Punch to the right side, yeah.
Well, he's actually punching left because he's saying that because he's a right-winger, that the LGBT organizations won't defend him. That's what he means by that.
Well, look, all right, just like any group of people, the LGBTQ community has lefts and rights in it. And it should be that way. We should all have a state of opinion and ideas because that's what's going to move our country forward. I don't believe that the American flag should be under the LGBTQ flag. I believe it should be addressed under it if it's going to be on the flagpole with, because America does come first. I believe that is for any military type of, American flag, representing the deaths of many. There needs to be, a truce somewhere, because we're fitting in. We really are. Our community is fitting in. A lot of people don't feel like we are, especially if you're like me and you're a minority in a large group of people. It's normal to feel that way. And that's why it's good to surf the internet and find people like you in your area. If there isn't any in your area, maybe somewhere that is worth driving to maybe have coffee with people like you. Have physical contact with your own people. I get that. Everyone needs to have that type of sanctuary of being able to have people that understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, so this article talks about the Andy Ngo attack. It mentions that it left him bloody, bruised, and hospitalized, which, is clearly true.
Yes.
But it also says with a brain hemorrhage. Now, this is only the second source I've seen so far that has actually mentioned it.
Okay.
So I still don't know if that's actually true or not, because I believe a healthy dose of skepticism is a good thing.
Absolutely.
So, but
you're not sold on it
is
yet.
Possible, and if it is true, and that is awful. And again, we never think we don't think we're not violent type people. We don't think that violence is the answer.
No, absolutely not.
Even if he didn't have the brain hemorrhage and that isn't true, I don't hold anything against him personally, because he did get beat up. They should not have responded this way, regardless of the politics involved.
Right.
If he did not swing a punch, they should not have swung a punch either.
Absolutely.
Because I believe in, I think we both agree in counterpunch.
Yes.
Don't punch, but counterpunch,
well,
damn it.
I'm going to be honest with you. I was raised by my mom by herself for a good majority of my life, and then by my grandma, so I have 2 generations of upbringing.
Don't punch, counterpunch?
I was always told, let them throw the first punch, and then you take them down. You win, all right? But you never put yourself in a place to start the fight. You just finish it. And in this case, by finishing it, is making sure the proper information is out there so that the right judgment calls can be made, so that the right people can be held accountable.
Mm-hmm. Yes, the police need to be held accountable. The Antifa members that directly attacked him need to be held accountable for it. I'm not really worried about the milkshakes because they don't look like they were damaging.
No.
But if they wanted to arrest them too, I don't really have a problem with that.
Well, again, throwing something, even if it's just a pillow, if it's directed in a manner of getting someone's attention, or, and it meant for any type of hostility, which would mean to throw it at someone, that is still wrong. There are other ways that we can be noticed. And when you are a large group, you can sit there in silence and just hold a fucking, up a sign, and people's gonna get it. You don't have to act like animals.
Exactly. Now, one of the things that the people that argue against Antifa about is that the clothing they wear, like they wear masks for one thing, but it's also been pointed out that some of the police, especially if they're in riot gear, they have masks on too. I've seen a couple pictures of it. So, I'm not discounting that. Yeah, they do wear masks, and that might be a little intimidating. But for the most part, I always agreed with them that said, we should we're trying to protect our identity because we might get fired for our views. that I totally respect, as long as they're not throwing punches or throwing tear gas grenades or bottle rockets or fucking whatever that actually could hurt somebody.
Right.
But so I don't agree with them wearing like the Kevlar vests, but I don't stop them from doing it, because sometimes I don't want to stop them from doing it because the police come out there with their fucking guns. And I've seen the pictures where they'll have these militarized police out there with these assault rifles, and they'll have the helmets, and they'll have a fucking SWAT truck out there. And I've seen a couple that have these small Jeep-like tanks, or should I say tank-like Jeeps? Call them janks, like that. Bringing out these janks, so they could be intimidating. And I completely understand if they had Kevlar vests on, and I don't see the big deal about that as long as they're not hurting anyone. So the whole thing about Antifa being terrorists as a group, I think that right now is not true. What about you?
I believe more evidence needs to be brought to the table. I honestly do. We need more information. We need more facts. I'm not going to be one of those people to shoot first or hang first and then ask questions. That's not right. That's not how we've evolved from so much more than that. We are not our ancestors in that aspect of, okay, automatic difference, it's a threat, let's take it down. We don't have to be those people anymore.
Yeah, it's time to end the wars. Tulsi. Oh, speaking of Tulsi, I was supposed to do a part 2 on that, but this was really important, and I wanted to bring this up. So I'll get to Tulsi the next time.
Aww.
We've been over an hour now.
You can split it up into another part. It would be a little extra for the viewers, since we haven't set up a Patreon page yet. Come on. We got the time, bro. Let's do it. The baby's asleep. Do it, do it, do it, do it.
Well, shit.
Yeah!
Alright, so the show carries on.
Yes!
I did it. So...
It was me.
Woohoo. Well, if that's the case, I'm gonna need some water or something, because...
Well, here, this shit's gold still.
Oh, fuck yeah, dude. You're the best.
Fuck yeah, I am.
So...
I am. Ain't that right, viewers? Mm-hmm. That's right. Uh-huh.
So, alright, starting back up.
This is how we do it.
Alright, welcome to part 2 of the Doghouse, episode number 12, isn't it now? Lucky number 12?
Lucky number 12.
So the...
Sorry, I was visioning myself as Elvis and how much pussy I actually got. Sorry.
You're good, man. So, the presidential Democratic debates were held last Wednesday and Thursday, so we haven't had a chance to talk about these yet. But they had 20 candidates.
Yeah, they did. So they had to do it in 2 nights. Which, the first night, I did watch. Don't get me wrong, I did. But that was so stupid.
Well, the star of the show was the second episode, right? The second night.
Do what now?
The big one that most people are talking about was night 2, because night 1 was kind of milquetoast for everybody. I mean, most people thought, most of them did terrible. They had fucking. They had some kind of technical difficulty halfway through, and then fucking Donald Trump goes and tweets boring and starts attacking CNN, or excuse me, MSNBC for fucking that up. I mean, it is a live debate, so they should have had their shit together. How much money they fucking spend on this industry?
Oh my goodness. How much a seat did people pay to get in that?
No less than $2,000.
Oh my goodness. So these were not poor people.
No, they weren't. So, I mean, they had at least a crowd of, I'd say, 1,000. It was a pretty sizable crowd. It was probably more in the multiple thousands, but I'm not really sure.
And all that money going to MSNBC.
Oh yeah, that's millions of dollars right there, more than likely that they make, because they 2,000. They said the sources I saw said anywhere from 2,000 to 4,500 per seat. So it could have depended, like the front row might have been the most expensive or some shit like that.
Right.
So I could see that being the case. So they clearly made millions of dollars on this, and they have not only the first night, but they had technical shit the second night, because at one point during the second night, the mics, or maybe it was the first night, I think it was the second night, the mics of the host, see, what they did was the first hour went smooth.
Yeah.
For the most part, technically speaking.
Right.
But the first night, they were going to do some kind of audience thing, and then it didn't work out or something, or they had a glitch and they had to take an extra 5-minute break. So, well, yeah, this is, well,
that might have been edited out because I worked both nights during the debates, so I had to watch the pre-recording or whatever online.
Yeah, I watched it while it was going live because I was trying to record it, but apparently the recording video really fucked up, so it's a disaster, and I couldn't use it. I'm not going to be able to use it in any videos.
This is why we need blank DVDs, because those blank DVRs that you can put in there, then you can sit there and download without any glitch, and then you can just take from that when you're recording.
So the second night, however, had a different technical difficulty. See, the hosts from the first hour, they had 3 hosts for the first hour, and it was I can name them. I know I can name them. Come on. Lester Holt was one of them. Rachel Maddow was the second hour with Chuck Todd. I remember that part. Because they came in the second hour and the other 3 fucked off.
Right.
But I'm trying to remember who the other 2 were. It was a blonde woman. I can't remember her name. Oh God, now I feel dumb. Well, whatever. It's not really relevant who they are because they're all fucking MSNBC shills anyway.
Yeah.
So the second hour on the second night, Rachel Maddow and Chuck Todd came out and started talking to them, and then all of a sudden, you start hearing other voices, and it's like over, making it hard to hear. People asking the debate questions and getting the responses. And apparently, whoever was in the control room forgot to cut the mics of the previous host, so their conversation, whatever the fuck it was, because I couldn't make it out when I watched it live. So, yeah, they had another technical glitch on the second night. It's like, Jesus Christ, you guys! Get it together already.
Allah damn it.
It was so embarrassing because Rachel Maddow's there like talking to the controller. Hey, controller, I'm someone in the control room. Please shut that off. We're live. It's like, oh, it's so pathetic.
That's beautiful.
We're still recording. Okay. So, anyway, but beyond the technical problems. So the first night, do you remember who was on the first night?
I don't remember all their names, and I remember Chow. The guy that's for everyone getting $1,000 a month.
Oh, dude, that is Andrew Yang.
Yang, my bad.
I know who that is. I know who you're talking about there because I followed him. And he has the UBI. He's pretty much the only one going for UBI, right? Because
none of the other ones said anything about it other than him. So yeah, he would be the only one.
Which is the $1,000 a night. $1,000.
Okay, we're trying to legalize prostitution and sex stuff, and that's great, but it's still illegal.
$1,000 a month from the government, just when you turn 18, basically just to be alive. Which I see where that comes from, and I don't give a shit. I think it's fine. If they want to give everybody $1,000 a month, what the hell ever.
It would boost our economy, but then if
'cause
everything
poor people
else,
are just going to spend the shit out of that.
but if everything else goes up in price because of it, then the poor is gonna get poor within like 15 years. So I mean that $1,000 won't amount to much, in the long run. We need a permanent solution, and Bernie is a permanent solution. Let's be real.
Yeah, his whole platform is a good way to handle all of this stuff. But
Yes.
anyway, that was the second night, Andrew Yang. Because he was
Oh,
alongside.
okay.
He was alongside. Let's see if I can remember their fucking names from left to right here. Marianne Williamson, which was the woman. She's an author. She was talking about.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I remember her.
She's got some really weird ideas, man. She's posted on Twitter talking about how God is bigger than a virus or something like that.
Ooh.
I don't remember what the hell it was,
God
but it
is
was some
bigger than a
trippy
virus.
shit.
Well, I mean,
She
if
sounds
you
like
think
she
about
used to-
mental illness.
I'm sorry?
If you're talking about mental illness and the creation of what happens to the brains of people while going through services at a young age, I mean, it's a form of brainwashing.
Well, she had some good ideas at the heart of it. She was the one that said in her closing statement something about, I want to beat Trump with love. I want to meet him on the battlefield, and love will win. I'm like, okay, that's a great sentiment and all, but what the fuck does that mean? What the hell are you going to do?
Well, yes, that was exactly
You're going to
what
call
I was
New
gonna-
Zealand? Whoop-de-doo. Say, girl, your country isn't the best country because America's going to be the best country because it's going to be the best country for children to grow up in. And that's why you should vote for me.
Oh my goodness.
What
All
the
right,
fuck?
so let's go on with the next candidate.
So the next candidate is, motherfucker, I'm trying to remember that guy's name. Is that Hickenlooper?
I think so.
A tall guy. Shit. Okay, so. Okay, I was right. That's John Hickenlooper. And to be honest with you, he didn't really stand out to me that much, so I don't remember much about what he said. So the next one over is Andrew Yang,
Yes.
which you mentioned,
Yeah.
followed by Pete Buttigieg, which the guy that was putting everybody to sleep at that CNN town hall, which I still have as my Twitter banner, by the way.
I love that. That's hilarious.
Followed by Joe Biden, which I'm pretty sure we all know who he is now. I call him the Gropinator. Bernie Sanders next to him. Kamala Harris, the cop. And then Kirsten Gillibrand. Kirsten Gillibrand was interesting. She talked about women and women's issues. Mm-hmm. And she didn't say anything bad outright. And in fact, on a couple of occasions, she directly agreed with Bernie Sanders. And she apparently is a co-sponsor of a couple of bills with him.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, she sounds pretty honest, but she's too distracted with identity politics, which I understand why women would fight for women's issues.
Right.
It makes perfect sense, and I don't hold that against her at all. I don't necessarily think that's a bad
I'm
portion of
concerned
identity
about
politics.
what I'm concerned about is climate change. That is my number one. I'm sorry, but if we don't have a battlefield to fight on, none of it's gonna matter when Mother Nature takes hold and fucks everyone in the ass.
Exactly. So, then next to her, shit. Was that Michael Bennett? No, I don't think that's Michael Bennett. What was the other guy? Oh shit, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Where are the candidates? Come on. I want the name of this guy. Oh, no, yeah, that is Michael Bennett, because the other guy is Swalwell. Okay, so that's the last of them. Let me get back to the picture. Where'd it go? There we go. Okay, so the last two guys are, from left to right, Michael Bennett and the last guy's Eric Swalwell.
That's right. Yes.
So, I don't know if you saw it or not, but Eric Swalwell, or excuse me, Michael Bennett had actually directly confronted, as did Kamala Harris and Swalwell. They all did at some point confront Joe Biden directly.
Yes.
And Kamala Harris did it in such a way that was spectacular and just destroyed the shit out of him. But then he turned around and kind of destroyed the shit out of her too. And it was all really crazy display. And I saw where Harris was coming from. And I think everything about what she said was right and true about him. But then he looked like a total douchebag. That's true. But then he came back around her, and he's basically what it boiled down to was she was yelling at him for being a white supremacist, or not a white supremacist, but being in league with white supremacists, so basically a bigot. And he's calling her a cop. Like, you're a bigot. Well, you're a cop. So, and Bernie's in the middle, and his face is just so perfect. He's like, I'm glad I'm not part of this conversation right now. What the fuck is going on? So now Bennett also took a shot at him, and it landed. It was a good shot. Bennett said some really interesting things. I don't think he's, a serious candidate or ever going to be, but he might have got a bump out of it. And then finally, Swalwell, his attack on Joe Biden got lobbed right the fuck back at him, and he looked like such an idiot. It was beautiful. So if Joe Biden can smash you, then, because Biden's really not that great of a debater.
No, he's not.
When it comes to a big group, but when it comes to one-on-one, he does a little bit better. Because he doesn't have attacks coming from everywhere. So, most of the people were able to land a hit on him, like Harris and Bennett. And even Bernie at one point didn't directly attack him, but Bernie did say, I'm against, okay, I'm not attacking him,
honestly,
but Joe Biden did vote for the Iraq War, and I did not.
My issue with Biden was mainly his end speech with that whole God bless you thing. I cannot handle having another president be a Bible humper.
Hell yeah.
It's not, everyone has the right to believe. I'm not attacking anyone, but I have my rights too.
Well, not only that, but the whole God bless our troops. It's like,
we're going to war. That's exactly what I got the feeling out of.
Yeah, we're fucking sending. You're responsible for sending our troops out to die in Iraq, and the kind of shit that he does is also responsible for like Vietnam, and maybe not him directly, but the type of politicians like him. The God bless our troops bullshit. Yeah. They're always sending our troops to war. They've been doing it since basically World War II and on, because we lied our way into World War II. But at least that was kind of a necessary evil in the way of war. But we don't need that shit no more. People should be evolved by now. We got the internet. We can expose human rights atrocities and get it dealt with. There's no reason to go to war anymore and keep killing more people on top of the ones that have already died.
Right.
Unless they, cause serious problems for the entire world or something like that. But they should be dealt with through a better way than just carpet bombing the shit out of them. But unfortunately, the people that we're bombing, we're not doing it because we care about them. We're doing it because we want their resources.
Gotcha.
We're always attacking an oil country. So anyway, I'm sorry about that.
Look, fossil fuel industry does need to go away for the health of everyone. It's not like I'm against people having vehicles and shit like that, or going up into space, because those are the types of things that we use them for outside of factories and shit. But it's hurting our environment, and we can't justify that anymore. We are seeing true changes, and we are making what is, happening faster. When we have the power to stop it, if we're looking for the proper candidate that's going to make the proper steps to do so. It's not going to happen overnight. Nothing's going to happen overnight, and no one should expect that. But we need to make a step in the right direction so that our grandchildren and their children have a chance, or we're just screwing ourselves. And there's not going to be much left behind, if anything, and it could be the actual end of the human race. Let's be real. I mean, sure, we've passed and persevered, up to this point, but it doesn't mean that we're going to survive this time. And we need to recover what we can, and that means uniting and working together for that purpose, and put our petty differences aside and just call it a truce. Honestly, just call it a truce. Climate change is very real. We're experiencing it everywhere. It's not just in one place or another. I mean, look at what happened in Mexico July 1st.
Exactly right. Let's pull that up real quick. Freak hailstorm buries Mexico City under 5 feet of ice. And it also says, as California bakes in 38 Celsius degree weather.
Right.
So, now here's some pictures of it. It says, roads were completely blocked after hail and heavy rain bombarded Guadalajara, the capital of Jalisco State in western Mexico on Sunday. So check those pictures out. You got them up, right?
Actually, yeah. I was reading through them.
I'm showing them to the viewers right now, where you could see all this snow and ice and just burying these vehicles. People sitting on top of them. People trying to dig out the vehicles from all the snow. As high as 1.5 meters or 5 feet in some places. So this is potentially a sign of more to come.
Yeah.
Because we have a lot of crazy weather, drastic weather.
Yes.
Which is something that's been predicted along with all the other models of climate change.
Yeah.
We told people it would start. People trying to get the truth out. But no one wants to listen. They'd rather tell you that everything's fine. It's all in God's hands.
Mm-hmm.
The planet's not on fire, even though we're literally fucking California, Vegas, or excuse me, Nevada, and these states are all just burning. They're just catching fire and burning. And then these freak storms like the supercells from last week, and the this hailstorm, and the sea levels rising. In some places, you're now being flooded on a regular basis that didn't used to get that kind of issue.
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, you could just look online and see for yourself, the stuff that's going on. But unfortunately, a lot of people just like to believe a beautiful lie.
Well, isn't that a problem with a good majority of the population? But then you have people like us that become woke as fuck, and we're like, what are we gonna do? What can we do to help? And honestly, at the end of the day, that's where everyone needs to be at. Because if we don't make the right changes, we're not gonna have a future left. And what future is left for what mankind survives this is gonna be brutal. It is going to be brutal.
Well, the way I see it is that the whole conspiracy in the first place is an intergenerational conspiracy, which all goes along with God.
Yeah.
Right? It's all one big lie that's been perpetuated for thousands and thousands of years.
Yes.
Along with which is why I think there's always been an establishment. I don't know if I've talked about this on the show yet or not.
I'm going ahead.
But I think that there is an establishment, and it's not just something we're seeing now. But it's been going on for thousands of years. Look at the Council of Nicaea that decided to put together the fucking book and the Bible and just start pushing this forward. I mean, consolidation of power is what you can expect from a bad nation or a bunch of bad actors.
Bad government.
Because the less people that hold power, the less oversight there is over what they do, and they can get away with a whole lot more.
Yeah.
And they can just keep telling people that everything's fine while the house is on fire.
Yeah, yeah. And they can sit there and paint that little pretty picture for you. This way you don't have to see all the chaos and be threatened with the facts.
Yeah. But so you see where I've kind of been going with the Establishment Ambrosia, right? Which is our D&D game.
Oh, man. Next week is going to be great. Those of you that are viewing, I don't know if you know what D&D is. It's Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, actually, now that we are in the 5th edition.
Well, no, they called the 2nd edition Advanced Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, did they?
It's been just Dungeons and Dragons ever since, I think, 3rd and on. So it's D&D 5th edition.
Okay.
They usually call it 5E for short. I'm sorry, continue.
Anyway, we're going to play a campaign, and we're going to allow y'all to sit in and watch. I think it will be a good experience for those of you that don't know what it is or believe that it is a gateway to the devil, so that you can see the benefits of actually playing this game, because it goes much farther than just strategy. You got to learn how to work as a group. You got to be able to make critical thinking. You know, you have to learn how to adjust to, drastic changes. I mean, This isn't just about, the joy of the game. For many, it's the joy of the surviving and figuring out how you can, make a way out of a near-death experience, or, put in a corner, and how you're going to get out of it, if you're going to get out of it. And those are other experiences too. For many that do play the game, they've played many characters. The people that you see, in YouTube, they have years of experience under their belt. And I love to watch like Dungeons and Dragons dudes and stuff like that, because it's interesting to see how they do in certain situations, really. But I mean, honestly, I feel like if anything, next episode needs to be shared amongst the viewers so that we can get it out to the masses. It'll be an educational video on what Dungeons and Dragons really is, to show that it's not harmful for children to play, and there's nothing wrong with having an imagination. And at the end of the day, when you play, you feel so much more relaxed. It is a great way to decompress from the real world. And I honestly think it needs to be something that's introduced to everyone, especially if they're into fantasy. I mean, there's more than just D&D. There are other types of tabletop games out there as well for people that like vampires and werewolves more, or, want to experience space stuff or Pathfinder.
Well, I think what a lot of people fall into the trap is, and I know I did at least, right, with Dungeons and Dragons, was I didn't really get into the role-playing as much as I should have when I was younger. I wish I had been doing more. But I mean, I think I did a pretty good job, because they still like me as a DM, so I guess I did all right. But there is a tendency to fall into a trap of trying to find not only the right system, but also not trying to be too powerful. Not try to get... I don't like those massive power hack and slash type games, because I think that drama and intrigue are important, and people will enjoy them if they can open their mind to it. Which is why I think certain drugs are interesting to do along with D&D, because it really helps you to open your mind. At least it has for me.
Well, I mean, I love marijuana. I wish that, at the very least that we could get medical marijuana passed because people like you and myself, would benefit greatly from being able to have that because I know for myself, I experience a great amount of anxiety when I'm in public. And, CBD, I've been experimenting with it. And there's some that I found is great, I guess for taking at night, which it's very expensive, a lot more than what I am used to spending when it comes to trying to self-medicate. In the long run, I don't get the feeling or security of, being safe when I'm in public. However, when I actually smoke, untampered with marijuana, I experience much better coping abilities. I'm able to breathe and actually focus on my job or, focus on actually getting out and about with my kids and enjoying the trails, things that I feel like I need to stay at home. I feel like a hermit. I don't want to get out there. The internet is essentially all I need, type of mindset, because that's safer than trying to get out there. But I don't want to live my life that way, to an extent. Bipolar is hereditary, and if my daughter, ends up being diagnosed with such, I want her to see a positive influence of someone that is dealing with that. I don't want her to see someone taking street drugs or, lots and lots of medication to be able to cope, because that's not fair and that's not the life I want for her. I want her to experience happiness, and I don't want her to have the fears that I have. And the only way that I can go is forward because I have her now. And I know a lot of people don't necessarily have someone like that in their lives to, have depend on them.
Yeah.
And I'm not encouraging anyone to just go get pregnant so that they can, improve on, their life and such. But it needs to be the same principle as, if you have an animal, they're great therapy dogs. I have one with special needs for myself, and she's, great to have. I love Luna.
All right, so I think that's
That's
a
good
pretty
wrap.
interesting. But I'll go ahead and circle back here to the debate,
Yes.
because that is a very interesting thing about. Oh, and also I was letting people read, so I was scrolling down as you were talking,
Yeah.
and letting them see the pictures, so that people like me that need eye distractions while I'm listening to something, they
Right.
could see the pictures. There's more pictures of the hailstone,
Hailstorm.
the hailstorm, and showing that they've been damaged. The cars have been damaged, and
A lot of people were having to go up through the roofs of their vehicles so that they could escape.
yeah, there were some, and there's so yeah, there's a lot of pictures. Holy shit! There's one of them.
I wonder how
actually
long it's going to
digging it
take
up.
for that ice to melt, considering how hot it gets there.
I don't know, but they are showing some of it has been melting, and they've been scooping it up. So anyway, that looks like the end of that article. So there's no more images for that, and I'll go ahead and close that out. So back to debate night.
Yay!
Now, the first night, now we already talked about night 2, so let's go back to debate night 1 candidates. Debate night 1, so the candidates are what? Let's find out. So this article from Slate says, Wednesday's debate showed the Democrats are mostly moving left. So, see if I can't make out who's in this one. On the left was Bill de Blasio. Let's see if I can view image and if it's a bigger image. Nope. Let me blow it up. Can I blow it up? Alright, that's reasonable. So here shows the the three from the first hour that are doing the debate, and I can't remember who they are, but on the stage at the left, he's got his hand up right now. On the picture is Bill de Blasio. You remember him?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, he's the current sitting mayor of New York, I think, or
Yes.
maybe he's ex-mayor. But either way, he actually really did good, I thought. I don't know if he means what he said, but he said a lot of good things.
I'm sorry. All I smelt was corporate on him.
That's probably true, but he has done some progressive things in the past. But unfortunately, he has been shown to be a little bit dirty,
Yeah.
and I don't really care for that. Any kind of
Not when you have someone like Bernie running. When you can have a pure candidate that's not, intermingled in other people's bullshit, and actually means what they say by the walk that they've made for so many years.
Yeah, 45 fucking years this guy's been consistent. At
Right.
least. So, then after him was... Oh, fucking hell. I don't recognize him. He probably didn't make an impact. Castro was next, Julian Castro, who spoke in I almost said Mexican. Spoke in Spanish. I apologize. Julian Castro, I believe, spoke in Spanish for part of it, and there were people that were praising him and people that were saying blah, blah, blah about him. I don't give a fuck that he talks Spanish, because he has a constituency that speaks Spanish. There's not a goddamn thing wrong with it.
Right.
I don't see why people make a big deal out of it. But then next to him is Cory Booker. And I know he's a pro-legalization guy, and he's shown that, but he's still a corporate fuck, and he didn't back Bernie back in 2016.
Yeah.
He was entangled in the DNC thing for a while, had something to do with defending the DNC rigging and shit like that. So
Right.
Then followed up by Elizabeth Warren.
Yeah, who didn't back Bernie either.
Nope. And she's running against him. So
Anything you can do, I can do better. I can do anything by taking your platform.
So the establishment tried to prop her up as a darling for a while, and it didn't work because her non-progressive policies and shit got called out. And then next to her is fuckface. Goddamn what's his name? Beto O'Rourke.
Beto.
You know that guy? And he spoke Spanish too, just like Cory Booker did also. Mm-hmm. And it's like Beto O'Rourke speaking Spanish. I just kind of want to punch him. I mean, I don't really care, but it's like, what are you doing? He's just a big, dumb white guy. You have no personality. You think you do. He was up there debating. He didn't look like he had any passion whatsoever for the bullshit he was saying. Which, I mean, Amy Klobuchar was next over. And, do you know anything about her?
No. No, I do not.
Well, she supposedly has a temper. Apparently some staffers of hers in the past had said that they had thrown things at her when she gets really hot under the collar. So there have been a lot of memes on Twitter that make fun of her for that.
Wow.
So apparently she's temperamental, and she kind of showed a little bit of that at the debate.
We don't need that kind of temper going on in the White House. Nope, next.
Yeah, it's pretty much another Trump, right?
I don't know, but still, temper's a temper, and we need someone that can hold their composure.
So next you've got Tulsi Gabbard.
She is my second choice if something was to happen to Bernie. I will not lie, but there are certain things that she, has said in the past, regardless of, apology. It's kind of like, well, at this point, you can kind of say whatever you want to, the voter to try and sway them to vote for you. And just like Trump used, the people in the past. Mm-hmm. So.
Well, Tulsi has shown that her last few years on the LGBT issues, she has been improving, at least in her votes. Mm-hmm. So there is that. And her apology seemed sincere at the time to me. But then again, I'm also not in the Hawaii LGBT community. Now, I am I do feel that I am LGBT because I am bisexual, I am pansexual.
Right.
And, you know, so I didn't just look at it like, I tried to look at it from the perspective of the community.
Yeah.
So it's like, if the people there locally think she's scum, well, I want to know why that is.
Right.
I don't want to just take their word on it because some of these groups, and the Andy Ngo thing does kind of show that a little bit, because they didn't come out in defense of Andy Ngo because he is gay. Mm-hmm. And they did do that with the Jussie Smollett thing, and that is fair. That kind of is a fair criticism. So it's like, you know, organizations do become corrupt.
Yeah.
And you can't deny that. So, anyway, but apparently her record on voting for war is not that great at all, and in fact has deepened in the last couple of years. So whatever you want to think about it on the LGBT issues, I could see where people are coming from. I really can.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't want that to be the only thing. If she is progressive, and she has sponsored some progressive bills, now I have an issue with her anti-war thing and the fact she's running against Bernie, but hopefully when it actually comes down to the primary, hopefully she's going to tell her constituents to please vote for Bernie. He needs the votes.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
I'm holding out hope that maybe that's the case, but frankly, I'm not going to vote for her if Bernie's still in the race.
Yeah.
That's all there is to it. Now, I probably will if she's not, or if he's not. I've been doing pronoun problems on people that are cis. So, man, I'm
having an issue with
a lot of
pronouns
trans people
too.
Unintentionally.
Yeah.
What's that?
I said I've been kind of. I'm sure I'm ticking people off too because I'm not educated in pronouns just yet. I have been doing research, but I am not a part of a physical group around to, you know, actually talk about it, verbalize it, you know, and understand it more. So it's all textbook.
So, next we have... Oh, damn it. I bet that's Jay Ainsley. Jay Ainsley. Now, he did pretty good, but he was kind of... I don't know. He was, my bullshit meter was going off with him. And then, of course, we end up with John Delaney, who looked like the biggest fucking ass the whole night, really, honestly. And most of the people, it looked like, agreed that he was the biggest disaster of the debate night, because they did polling afterward, and I've even seen some videos about how he just fucking dropped the ball.
Yeah.
Because the shit he was talking about was just a big joke. Mm-hmm. So, honestly, it looks like Elizabeth Warren did the best that night alongside Tulsi Gabbard. And there was one other one I think they said did really good, and I think it was Julian Castro. No, Bill de Blasio, my bad. Castro didn't really do himself any favors, the way I remember it. Beto looked like a dipshit. And then there's that one guy, I can't even remember his name, the second from the left, and he was shit.
Yeah.
I don't even remember his fucking name, he was that bad. So, I guess what the whole point of it is that, you know what, it's great that people like Tulsi and even Warren and some of these others are there at the debates, because they can help destroy each other. Frankly, just let them do it. That's why, you know.
Yeah.
I'm cool with Bernie just sitting out with the debacles with the others. And then he did take his own jab at Joe at one point, but he did it all on his own. He didn't do it as a personal attack. He just stated the truth.
Yep. Facts.
So, anyway, I am burning up.
Yeah. It's time to end this.
We need to give this a break. So, anyway, going to transition out. This is the Doghouse with Road and
Alex.
And thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this content, please hit like, subscribe, share with your friends on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and the such. And definitely be sure to subscribe so that you see when we do future videos. Currently, we are doing a post every Tuesday.
Yes.
But as we talked about, we got other specials that we're wanting to do.
Yes.
So we may have other stuff to look forward to. So thanks again for listening. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Stay cool in this heat.
Bye-bye.